All right, let's talk about something you've probably heard of, but maybe don't fully get. It's called fascia. And honestly, it's turning everything we thought we knew about our bodies, about pain, and about movement completely upside down.
You know what I'm talking about, right? That nagging pain in your back, or that shoulder that just always feels stuck. You stretch, you do all the exercises, but it never really leaves. Well, what if the problem isn't your muscle? What if the real culprit is a hidden network that's woven through your entire body?
For the longest time, this is how scientists treated fascia. Seriously, during dissections, they'd just cut it away and toss it aside, thinking it was just useless packing material. But just like in the fairy tale, this long-ignored tissue is finally getting its moment. And wow, is it changing the game?
So, let's get into it. What is this stuff, really? It's time to throw out the old ideas and look at what science is telling us now.
This is the first huge mind shift you have to make. Stop thinking of your body as a bag of separate parts. Instead, picture this: a single, seamless, intelligent spiderweb that connects everything to everything else. It surrounds your muscles, it weaves through your organs, it's literally everywhere. This is why a problem in your foot can actually cause pain all the way up in your hip. It's all one piece.
Okay, and this is where it gets really wild. We used to think this web was just passive, kind of like scaffolding, just holding things up. Turns out that couldn't be more wrong. This tissue is alive.
I mean, for hundreds of years, the official story was that fascia was basically biological bubble wrap, just inert filler. But we now know it has this incredible ability, an ability we used to think was reserved for muscles. It can actually contract, all by itself.
And the hero of this story is a tiny little cell called a myofibroblast. You can think of it as a shapeshifter. It starts out as a normal tissue-building cell, but when it gets certain signals, it morphs. It develops these little fibers that let it pull and create tension, almost like a tiny muscle cell.
And this is how it all goes down. Imagine you're hunched over a desk all day, or you have an old injury. That creates long-term stress. Your body responds by sending out a signal. Those little cells get activated, they transform, and they start to slowly, actively pull on that fascial web, making it tighter and stiffer. This is why you can feel tight and restricted long after the initial stress is gone.
So this idea of a living, tightening fabric, how does that connect to the kind of pain that so many of us deal with every single day?
Does this list look familiar? I bet it does. These are some of the most frustrating, hard-to-treat problems out there. For years, the focus has been on muscles and joints. But now, scientists are pointing the finger squarely at fascia, suggesting it might be the real source of the problem.
Let's just zoom in on one of these for a second. Plantar fasciitis. You know that horrible stabbing pain in your heel first thing in the morning. We used to treat it like it was the same condition for everybody. But it turns out that's a massive oversimplification.
It really matters how you're built. The research is pretty clear. People with flat feet and people with high arches get this for totally different reasons. If you have flat feet, your foot tends to roll inward too much, putting a certain kind of pulling stress on the fascia. But if you have high arches, your foot is often more rigid and doesn't absorb shock well, creating a completely different kind of strain.
And you can literally see the results of this stress. When you look at the fascia with an ultrasound, it's physically different. It gets thicker as it gets irritated, but how thick it gets is different depending on your foot type. The tissue is adapting, or, well, failing to adapt, to very specific forces.
These graphs just hammer the point home. They're like a unique fingerprint of how someone's ankle moves when they walk. The pattern for a flat foot is totally different from the pattern for a high arch. So you can see why a one-size-fits-all treatment just doesn't make sense, right? You have to treat the root cause, not just the symptom.
Okay, so this is all fascinating. But what does it mean for actually getting better? How do we use this new science to change how we treat people?
It means we have to start thinking bigger. The old model of just strengthening one weak muscle is out. The future is about treating the whole system. It's about helping those fascial layers slide and glide past each other smoothly, the way they're supposed to. And this isn't just theory. This is serious, rigorous science. What you're seeing here are researchers in a lab taking tiny samples of fascia and putting them on these incredible machines that can pull and stretch them from all different directions at once, carefully measuring every bit of resistance.
Then they take all that complex data and feed it into supercomputers to build these amazing digital models of the human body. This is how we're learning how force actually travels through our bodies, not just through muscles, but through this entire fascial network. It's pretty cutting-edge stuff.
Now here's the catch.
and it's a big one. The changes we're looking for in fascia, the things that make the difference between pain and relief, they're tiny. We're not talking about a muscle doubling in size. We're talking about very, very subtle shifts in the tissue's texture and behavior.
And that's a huge problem for researchers because it means their old tools don't really work. Just look at this. They're having to create brand new standards for what even counts as a large effect. A large effect in fascia research is about half of what we'd consider a medium effect in other fields. They're trying to measure a whisper, not a shout.
So what does that mean in the real world? It means you need more people in your studies. A lot more. To be confident you've found even a large effect, you need a minimum of 60 people. That makes this kind of research incredibly expensive and difficult to do, which is why progress can sometimes feel slow.
But even with those challenges, the future looks incredibly bright. We're starting to see a new generation of treatments that actually work with the fascial system. Things like advanced hands-on therapies that aim to unstick those layers. Integrated movement practices like yoga that gently remodel the tissue over time. There are even methods that tap into the nervous system to tell the fascia to just let go. It's a whole new playbook for healing.
So, it leaves us with this really powerful question. Now that we're finally starting to understand this secret, intelligent network inside of us, are we on the brink of a breakthrough? Could this be the key to finally solving some of the most stubborn mysteries of chronic pain? It's an exciting time, and you have to wonder what we'll discover next.